I'm gonna just have to. I will say this. I will say that. I know I will trigger a lot of people by saying this, but I think Noragami is better than Kingdom and Monster. Mic check, mic check. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Hey yo, hey yo, hey yo, yo, yo. What's up, yo? You doing that good, yo? Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. It is I, your boy Panda, and today we're going to make the ultimate manga tier list. Here in front of your screen, there are only a few manga series. Granted, there are also a few manhwas here. So yeah, when I looked for the mangas that I've read before, I didn't actually realize the amount of manga I read. I only read a few manga series, and it's unfortunate because I thought I read more than this amount. Maybe that's because I read long-running manga series. That's why I felt I read a lot of manga. But here we are. So over here we got D tier, and here we've got C tier, we've got B tier, which is a mid manga, we've got A tier. Now A tier is like a good manga, a solid manga if you really wanna read a good manga, and then it's probably in A tier. Now S tier on the other hand is where we say a manga is a masterpiece and it's a one of a kind. So without further ado, let's start at the first one. Over here we've got Kingdom. Now when it comes to Kingdom, I've read all the way up to chapter 500-ish or something, or maybe lesser than that, but I've read a chunk of the Kingdom manga, and I will say it's freaking phenomenal, bro. I love Kingdom, but to me, I think the pacing sometimes get a little bit dragging, even though the battles and the wars are very intriguing and interesting, especially how they write the battle tactics and the strategies in the fights, in the war battles and stuff. But yeah, from the chapters that I've read, there were definitely moments where it was slow, like very slow, especially at the beginning. Yo, what? The dialogue sometimes are a bit cliche and childish, despite it being a very serious manga. I think the dialogues need to be improved upon more, but the story and the wars and everything, the conflicts, the politics, everything is just so well made. It's so well written. The only thing that I will do say negatively about Kingdom is how the characters are written. You know, it's hype. The manga is hype, especially the story and how Shin becomes, you know, as he moves farther and farther from the rank he previously have, his rank constantly grows higher and higher. You know what I mean? It's so well made how they manage to write characters that can lead an army so well. Everyone in this manga, yo, the way they write characters, how they are able to manage to lead armies and how armies would go with them and follow the leader, it's just so well made, yo. But you know what? I'm have to put in A. I'm so sorry, Kingdom fans. It got potential, you know. Maybe because I haven't read all the way to the latest chapter, but from what I've read and from what I've experienced, it was great. It was just not something that resonated with me personally. But yeah, it was great. Now the next one is My Hero Academia. Now, My Hero Academia has very sentimental value to me. I first discovered My Hero Academia when the anime was announced. The first season. The anime wasn't even out yet when I first discovered My Hero Academia. So, knowing how successful My Hero Academia is now, I'm like, you know what I mean? When you discover something before it gets popular, that's what I feel about My Hero Academia. So for a long time, My Hero Academia was probably my favorite anime in recent times. So when the anime came out, I am already caught up to the manga, and so I know what's going to happen in the anime. But when I watched the anime, bro, the manga, the story got even better. The pacing was better. The art style of the manga was better. But yeah, enough with my backstory. Let's talk about how impactful My Hero Academia is for me. Here's the thing with My Hero Academia. It started off really strong. The beginning of the story, how he is first discovering how to use his powers and everything. It was great. It was truly like peak shonen story writing. Like, I was so amazed by the story and how the world, the quirks, the powers, the hero rankings and all that stuff, it really interested me. But the more the story goes on, especially in the anime, bro, what? The story became dragging, and you literally just felt like you're losing interest in the anime and the manga. So overall, I think what I would say to My Hero Academia, I'm so biased to My Hero Academia, bro. It's not my favorite anime of all time or manga of all time. It's definitely not in my top 10, but you know, My Hero Academia has so much sentimental value to me, and I will always have fond memories with them or with this show or manga series. But objectively, if we say about the story, I think I'm gonna have to put it in B. Yeah, you know what? B is perfect for My Hero Academia. Alright, the next one we have is Monster. Ooh. Monster. Johann Liebert. For me, I think Monster has amazing story, you know. It has an amazing story. I like how it ended. I like everything. I like how the ending was left to your own interpretation on what happened to Johann. But the suspense, the mystery, the thrills, the more you discover the story, the more you're like, what the fuck? What is going on in the story, bro? What happened to Johann? What's wrong with him? Why is he like this? And the fact that he has a twin sister, and like, bro, what? It was just a roller coaster, bro. It was phenomenal. It was phenomenal. But what I will say though, it is a very slow manga. It will take time for you to be actually invested in it. And I'm glad that I actually sat through and read through all of the first chapters, because it was a slog, bro. I mean, don't get me wrong, it was interesting, but it didn't interest me enough to the point where, actually, I wanted to read it more. When I was reading it, what I have in my mind was basically just, I just have to go through this because people are saying it's gonna be great. So I was basically just forcing myself to read all of this, but I'm glad that I did because it was amazing. Great characters, great character writing, great storytelling. I mean, you know, it was just phenomenal, bro. Monster is just so great. I'm gonna have to put it in in A tier though. It's not really like, oh my gosh, a one of a kind. I mean, it is a one of a kind manga. I think I've never read manga the same story writing as Monster, except for one of the mangas that I have yet to put in a tier list here. You will find out very soon. But yeah, I think I'm gonna have to put it in A tier. The next one, Naruto. Now, unlike My Hero Academia, I actually don't have any nostalgic memories or sentimental values of Naruto. I didn't really grow up watching Naruto. So when it comes to Naruto, I can be brutally honest as I can. So Naruto, the story is great, but there are a few moments, or not a few, there are a lot of moments in Naruto where I was just like, this is just shit. This is not even worth reading for. But I still read it. I like Naruto's. There are some times where his characters become dull and very repetitive, especially Sasuke. Yeah, I think the world building is cool. The story is there. The pacing, the side characters are not too interesting for me, to be honest. And I especially hate Sakura. I fucking hate Sakura. I fucking hate Sakura. I made a video like, let's say 4 years ago about why is Sakura useless. Click here. I hate Sakura ever since then. You know what? I'm fucking pissed off, bro. I'm gonna just put Naruto at C tier. Okay, I'm a little bit harsh. I'm gonna put it in B. The next one is Noragami. Ooh, shit, damn. Now, for those who have watched Noragami, the anime, y'all might say, oh, why are you having a hard time placing this in a tier list? Well, that's because the anime was not that great, okay? It was an okay anime adaptation. But in the manga though, the more you go into the story, the more captivating it is. Like, I'm not even lying to you guys. It's probably one of the best manga series I've ever read in my entire life. No joke, in my entire life. The way how they explain the backstories, the history of the gods, and you know, the suspense. Oh my goodness, bro. Now that I'm thinking about it, I actually want to reread it again. Yo, you know what? I'm gonna download it on my phone. Done. I've downloaded it and I will read it again. That's how good it is, bro. Especially like at almost the end of the manga, how Yukine's backstory was explained, bro. The suspense, I was like, what the fuck is going on? Like, you know what, you know that feeling, you know? I'm gonna just have to, I will say this. I know I will trigger a lot of people by saying this, but I think Noragami is better than Kingdom and Monster. The manga, not the anime, okay? Ooh, shit. I'm actually gonna trigger a lot of people on that, but it's okay. Noragami S tier S tier. I haven't read the ending yet. I don't know what's the ending of the manga. I've heard that it was very disappointing. So yeah, I think I'm gonna have to read it first in order for me to reevaluate my tier list. But so far, from what I can remember, from what I've read, Noragami is S tier. Now the next one is One Piece, immediate S tier. You know what? One Piece is better than any of the manga I've read ever. That's already a statement right there. Now, One Piece, it's just, I will say this, hands down, One Piece is the greatest fiction ever written in the entire history of the world. Not just in manga, not just in anime, but in the entire world. The history of the entire world. The amount of storytelling and depth the world building has in One Piece is just mind-blowing, you know? And the reason why I said it is the best written story in the history of the entire world is that no one can make something as great as One Piece, bro. The amount of chapters and how long this story has been taken, 20 years of storytelling, and it's still consistent to this day. No one has ever made something like that. And the fact that it's consistently phenomenal, bro. Every year, it's non-stop bangers after bangers after bangers, bro. And the fact that no one has ever made a story as great as this, that's why I said One Piece is the greatest story ever written in the fiction of history in the world. You know what I mean? The characters are great, bro. The characters, bro. Let's just say the characters, how amazing the characters are written, bro. I can name so many. Robin, Doflamingo, Frankie, Senior Pink, Luffy, Zoro, Sanji, Nami, Trafalgar Law, Whitebeard, Shanks, especially Shanks in the latest arc in the manga right now, bro. Are you kidding me? Big Mom, like everyone in the One Piece story, everyone has great character writing. There's no doubt about it. There are also many iconic moments in One Piece, bro. I would argue there are more iconic moments in One Piece than One Punch Man, Naruto, Bleach, Kingdom, and everything in this tier list. Okay, I'm gonna stop glazing One Piece, bro, because I'm really losing my mind here. Alright, the next one is One Punch Man. One Punch Man is one of those manga series where it's just a treat reading it. It's like very amazing with amazing art style. The art style of One Punch Man just it's just phenomenal. The story is very simplistic. I mean, I think they've complicated the story a little bit by introducing God and how Blast is, you know, doing a lot of stuff. I think it made the story a little bit confusing, just a little bit, but it's just not a worry for you, you know. One Punch Man is great. You're never gonna get bored. The art style are phenomenal. The characters are phenomenal. Garu is phenomenal, you know, especially Saitama. The fact that he is very simplistic when it comes to his own character, but he somehow still managed to entertain and pushes the story even further without feeling it to be like stale and stuff. It's just great. So I'm gonna put it to A tier. It's not really like the same tier as One Piece and Noragami for me. This is my tier list, bro. Don't be mad at me. I know it sounds so wrong ranking Noragami on top of Kingdom, Monster, and One Punch Man manga, bro. But I just felt more connected with Noragami, bro. I'm sorry. Alright, the next one we have is Oyasumi Punpun. Yo, we're on this now. We are on this part of the video where the manga series are very complex and difficult to tier. Now, Oyasumi Punpun, when it comes to my first reading experience reading it, it was definitely not an enjoyable one. It's not that I've like dreaded it. You know, the pacing can sometimes be like wrong, but I think the author of Oyasumi Punpun is purposely making the pacing slow because he wants you to feel connected with Punpun, the main character. And the fact that I actually managed to feel connected and be a part of his life speaks volumes in how this manga is written. I love Oyasumi Punpun. I love the manga. But when I first read it, it was just not enjoyable at all. But the outcome and the ending, bro, the ending is just so genius, so perfect, bro. But yeah, I think it was just a phenomenal manga. I don't think a manga like this will ever come out in my lifetime. That's how impressed I was after reading the manga. You know, it broke me. It obviously broke me. The story was very deep. Sometimes my brain can't even handle it, but it was very sad. The manga was very sad, especially that one chapter, you know, if you know what I mean. If you read Oyasumi Punpun, there's that one chapter that traumatized us all, you know what I mean? But yeah, it's not even a debate. Oyasumi Punpun is S tier. Phenomenal manga, phenomenal manga. Alright, the next one we have, ooh, Psyren. Now Psyren, I discovered Psyren on a Reddit post on what great manga should I read, something like that, and this manga came up and I was like, it seems interesting, and it really was interesting. When I first read the first 25 chapters, it really, like, I don't know how to explain it, but it connected with me. The way how they are keep teleporting back to the future and to the present, like, oh, that was a spoiler, but it was just phenomenal, you know. Although it's a very early 2000s anime, or should I say manga, and some people may don't find that interesting, but to me, I think I really like it. Not to the point where it became my favorite manga or one of my favorite manga series of all time, but it was genuinely great. I was enjoying reading it. There's also an anime coming this year of this anime, finally. So yeah, when it comes to enjoyment and overall, I think I'm have to put it in A tier. It's not really like the same level of story writing as the rest of the manga series that I put in A tier, but when it comes to my enjoyment, I think it's just fair to put it in A. Okay, the next one we have is Slam Dunk. Slam Dunk is definitely one of my favorite manga series of all time, and this manga introduced me to basketball. Like a few years ago, I was not into basketball at all. I hate basketball because I was bullied back in the day. You know, I can't play basketball just because I'm big and just because I'm a little bit tall compared to a normal height of a Filipino. They were like, oh, play basketball. And when I played basketball, they would make fun of me, like, oh, like that. You know, it was just awful. But when I read Slam Dunk, I actually managed to appreciate my height and the fact that I can actually like use my physical body to play basketball, because there are some people who can't play basketball, and you know, it's unfortunate for them, but I'm fortunate enough to be able to play basketball. So when I read Slam Dunk, it introduced me to these small nuances in basketball and how interesting it is, and it actually made me fall in love with NBA in basketball. Right now, today, I am very heavily knowledgeable in NBA and basketball history. You know, I also love playing basketball now. I play basketball not every day, but you know, 3 times a month. But yeah, I am caught up to the latest news in the NBA. I know what's happening. Anyways, I'm getting off topic. The story of Slam Dunk is very simplistic, but the way that Takehiko Inoue writes and illustrates the game chapters it's so cinematic. It was a very simplistic manga, but it's a sports manga that never ever disappointed me. Pacing sometimes can be off, but in actuality, it was actually like good. So I'm gonna put this in A tier. The next one we have here is Solo Leveling. Now, y'all know what I think about Solo Leveling, right? You can see that most of my popular videos are Solo Leveling. That's not because I was chasing the views for Solo Leveling. That's because I love Solo Leveling. I freaking love Solo Leveling. That's why I kept making videos about Solo Leveling, you know? I love Solo Leveling before the anime came out. And now that the anime is out, I think I just lost interest in Solo Leveling because it's getting popular now, bro. The ending, though, I don't really like, although it's not really that bad. I think at least we have an ending. Some manhwas ended with nothing, so it is what it is. At the latter half of the story, I think when Sung Jin-woo became so overpowered, I think that was when the story became lopsided. I actually lost interest in it. But yeah, the first, I'd say, 200 chapters of Solo Leveling, it was fucking hype. I fucking love Solo Leveling, but I think it became dull. I can't put it on B tier, bro. I can't put it on B tier. Oh fuck it, this is my list. I'm gonna put it in A tier. My Hero Academia and Naruto fell off way more than Solo Leveling, so yeah. Oh, the next one we have is Sweet Home. Okay, Sweet Home is actually probably one of the first manhwas I've ever read, and it was just phenomenal, bro. It's like a zombie apocalypse but written by a genius. Like literally, it's just genius. It was very, I don't know what's the word, but it was very, like, you know, intriguing to me. I think I kind of forgot what the story was actually about. I know they're stuck inside in a building, but I forgot how the story beats go because it's been such a long time since the last time I've read Sweet Home. But from what I can remember, I think Sweet Home was very good, so I'm gonna put it in A tier. A tier again. I'm sorry, I just read good manga. What can I say? Now the next one is The Promised Neverland. A lot of people will hate me about this, bro. I just know people will hate me, bro. I don't know how to say it. Put it in B tier. B tier. Now look, let me explain myself, okay? The Promised Neverland was great, okay? It was great, but I do think there are moments where it was just not interesting to me. There were also a lot of parts where, yeah, it is interesting and it was great, but you know, I was not really enjoying it, you know? Especially at the end. The ending of the manga was very mediocre. I just don't like it. And I was expecting like the same storytelling as back when they were still in the farm. How their brains are used to, you know, outsmart each other, outsmart everyone. That was what captivated me and made me interested in the Promised Neverland. But I think after they escaped, I think that type of storytelling was just gone. I think at that point, after they escape, they are more on surviving. I mean, it fits, but I think it's more on surviving than actually interesting mind battles, you know. I think that's my fault because I was expecting more than that, but yeah, I'm sorry, Promised Neverland fans, but this is just me. I'm sorry. Alright, the next one we have is Uzumaki by Junji Ito. This is the only Junji Ito manga I've ever read, but I am definitely intending to read more Junji Ito manga. This one was good. It was good. It was very creepy and gross, but it was not like that scary for me. It was just like a little bit unsettling, but it's just weird and gross. Yeah, I think I'm have to put it in B tier. Yeah, people are definitely gonna get mad at me at this point. Okay, I put Noragami on top of these. The fuck? Alright, the next manga is Vagabond. Okay, now you guys are not gonna get mad at this. Vagabond is definitely a S tier. Vagabond is definitely in my top 5 favorite manga series of all time. I've reread this manga so many times now, I can't even count. Miyamoto Musashi and how his story is being portrayed, it was just a masterpiece, you know? A masterful storyteller writing a masterful depiction of a very well-known samurai. And the fact that it's not just great in storytelling, it's also phenomenal artwork, you know? Takehiko Inoue, the artist of Slam Dunk, also is just a phenomenal illustrator, bro. He's a phenomenal artist. And the fact that Musashi from the beginning was a angry kid who is only aiming to become the strongest ever and blah blah blah, kill everyone. The more people I kill, the more stronger I become. But then he slowly realizes that the more people you kill doesn't necessarily mean the more stronger you become. And he realizes that, and the more things he learns, the more things he actually managed to grow up and become more wiser in the battlefield and more wiser in helping people and connecting with people. That's why the farmland arc at the latter half of the story was so good for me, because his character was actually developing into something more greater than his previous character. You know, he's actually developing. Outside from him, like, you know, his best friend in his childhood, I forgot his name. The fact that his life is spiraling down and Musashi is going up, like, you know, it's very sad, and I can truly see myself in his friend's shoes, Miyamoto Musashi's friend, because sometimes I choose a decision and it would just go downhill for me, you know. And the fact that he still hasn't have any redeeming moments in the story, it just hurts, you know. But I like how the two characters are just not the same and their contrasts are just different, you know. But anyways, yeah, Vagabond, phenomenal manga. I highly recommend it. The next one is Vinland Saga. Alright. Now, I finished Vinland Saga. I know the ending. And I will say the ending of Vinland Saga was a hit or miss. But along the way, the journey through the ending was just great. You know, a lot of people say like, oh, Vinland Saga is easily top 5 manga series of all time. And to me, I don't really think it is. Great story though. Great character writing. Oh my goodness, when it comes to character writing. I talk about Musashi earlier, right? How he realized that killing people is bad. Thorfinn, his character writing and the way he realizes things through his father's teachings and the killings he made along the way. The fact that he actually developed into someone I can't even imagine being. Somehow managed to make a family, being a loving father, being a leader, being someone who is willing to create a country. That's just so unique. And the fact that he refuses to hold a sword, or rather use a sword to kill another person later on in the story, is just and the quote, "I have no enemies," it was just so fucking phenomenal. You know what? Actually, that actually hyped me up. I'm gonna put that to S tier, bro. That actually hyped me up. I forgot how amazing Vinland Saga is. Now the next one is Windbreaker. Back when Windbreaker wasn't as popular as it is now, Windbreaker was definitely one of my favorite manga series, or rather manhwa series of all time. But when it got popular, the story just became a bit dull, and it didn't really interested me. And I actually dropped it. And the fact that recently the author was exposed of tracing a lot of images and a lot of drawings, it's just but yeah, I'll have to put it in B tier. Okay, the next. Oh, okay. Now we're talking. Now we're talking, bro. 20th Century Boys. Now, remember when I said that there's one manga that is greater in writing mystery and suspense in manga other than Monster? Is 20th Century Boys. Now, when I say Monster is great, that's when I say it's great. But when I say 20th Century Boys is great, it's even greater than Monster. I don't know if you guys understood that, but 20th Century Boys is definitely one of my favorite manga series of all time. Not only because it has, consistent artwork, but the storytelling, the mystery, it was just so perfect, down to the T, perfect. I don't care if I'm turning K. Perfect. What the fuck am I doing, bro? So yeah, definitely S tier, bro. You're kidding me? Alright. Oh my gosh. Here we go. I will definitely get people mad at this one. We've got Haru Ride. I read this when I was 13 years old or 12, 14, and it was definitely my first ever romance manga I've ever read. But I remember reading the manga and I was just very happy, and I love the manga. I don't care what anyone says. I love the love triangle aspect of it. I love the thrills. I just love it, bro. Ooh. People are gonna get mad at me, especially the Promised Neverland fans. I'm sure I'll have to put it in A tier. I'm sorry, guys. I know to some of y'all, Haru Ride may be not that great, but for me, I had so many fond memories of it. I love Haru Ride, so I'm sorry, guys. Alright, the next one is Bastard. Yo! Now, Bastard, the author of Bastard is the same author as Sweet Home. And bro, the author of Sweet Home and Bastard don't miss, bro. But yeah, Bastard, I think Bastard is definitely greater than Sweet Home. Yeah, Bastard is so good. The character writing, the suspense, the thrills, it was just, I just can't stop reading it. Like, I was just glued to the story. I can't stop reading it. I'm gonna put Monster on the high A tier list, and I'm gonna put Bastard behind that. There you go. Alright, the next one, Berserk. Do I have to explain why Berserk is a masterpiece? Do I have to explain it? No, I haven't actually talked about Berserk that much in my channel. I've talked about Berserk previously, but for a very short while. But Berserk, I think out of all of these, I think Berserk is the one I've reread the most, because it was just so captivating how the story just goes like that, Kentaro Miura, rest in peace. The way he writes characters and the way the characters bounce off of each other, it was just so realistic. I mean, the artwork, what can I say about the artwork? It was just like out of this world. It literally out of this world. The art style, everything was just so perfect in Berserk. I will say though, I think Berserk is not the greatest manga ever made. I think I will still hold it to One Piece. But yeah, I think Berserk is a very close second to One Piece. There's anything left to say about Berserk. It was just so phenomenal. Anyways, let's go to the next one. Bleach. Will I say Bleach is better than Naruto? Hell yeah. Fuck you, Naruto fans. Fuck you. Now, Bleach, for me, when I compare Naruto and Bleach has fewer downs than Naruto. Naruto was up and down and going up to the very top and then down again to the very bottom, then going to the middle, going to the very bottom and not to the middle, and like that. Bleach, on the other hand, was slowly steadily going to the top and just drops for a short while and then consistently in the middle. And it won't won't drop down until to the very end. The ending was just rushed, but at least it was not a sad ending. Naruto has so many downs than Bleach, and I actually enjoyed Bleach more than Naruto. I prefer the arcs of Bleach. I prefer the art style of Bleach. When it comes to character writing and battles, I think I prefer Naruto. But when it comes to how the story is actually written and how the pacing, it goes to Bleach. So yeah, Bleach is A tier, Naruto is B tier. Alright, the next one is Chainsaw Man. Chainsaw Man, Denji, my boy. I am very caught up to the manga. I have to say, season 2 is better than season 1 of the manga, bro. I would definitely put it in A tier. I mean, Denji, I relate to Denji so much. Not because I'm like that, but because I can see myself in him. You know, I could have been like Denji if I went to the same route as him, and you know what I mean. The character writing, the fights are awesome. The lore, the reasons why devils exist, it was just so interesting. The next one is Dandadan. This is definitely, I think, the latest show in here. I mean, Dandadan, it's awesome so far in the story. It has not dropped down to the same level as Naruto or like My Hero Academia. It's actually going up. The story is getting better. So, yeah, I'm gonna put it in A. Now, the next one is Demon Slayer. Ooh, oh my. Bro, I'm gonna get everyone so angry at me at this point, bro. If you're angry, just thumbs down. Don't unsubscribe, please. I need the subscribers. Demon Slayer. The first few arcs are boring as fuck. Very, very boring. The only part of the manga that I actually liked was the Infinite Castle, the final arc. But again, when the arc was slowly finishing, I think that last part of the arc is just so boring at that point. Didn't really hook me. So when it comes to Demon Slayer, I'm not very sentimental about it. I didn't really felt a connection with it, unlike other people. So I will be very critical of this, and I will put it in B tier. The next one is Erased, the manga, not the anime. The manga is actually great. I think they explained the ending very well. And the problem that I had with the anime didn't have it in the manga. I think I was actually very satisfied with the manga. I have a love and hate relationship with the Erased anime. I mean, I hate it, but I still love it. You know what I mean? It's just, yeah. I'm gonna put it in A. Definitely better than this fucking piece of shit of manga. I'm just kidding. Some people will find the manga that I put in B tier to be better than some in the upper tier list. But you know, it's my tier list. Shut the fuck. I'm just kidding. Next one is Gantz. Gantz. The characters in Gantz are definitely not that greatly written. There are some moments in the manga where the main character was written very well, but I don't think overall the characters are written very well. The ending of the manga was very confusing. I really don't fucking understand the ending of the manga. There are aspects of the manga where it just didn't really happen. Like, remember the vampires of the manga? They were supposed to be like the next big villains, but somehow they were just forgotten later on. And the very racist moment, a character painted his face black and started a mass shooting. You know what I mean? It's just very racist. But I enjoyed the mystery of it. I enjoyed like the very game aspect of it. I'll have to put it in B tier though. I have to be honest. I mean, I enjoyed Gantz, but you know, I'm gonna have to be honest. I'm gonna put my bias aside in this one. Green Blood. Now, Green Blood, I actually like discovered this on my own when I was like reading manga, and then I just found this out. Like, oh, what is this? Like, I don't think it has that many chapters, but if you love Western manga, like those Western like cowboys and stuff, this is definitely for you. Very good manga. Awesome manga. I'm gonna put it in A tier. Very great manga. Now, for the last manga that I will rank today, Eyes. I've briefly mentioned Eyes on one of my videos back in the day, but if you guys don't know, Eyes is probably my favorite romance manga of all time, and probably one of the greatest, if not the greatest romance manga of all time. Because unlike the other romance manga that I usually read, the main characters are females, but in Eyes, the main character is actually a male, so I could understand him more and how realistic the romance is, you know. And I just can't stop reading it, you know. Like, I have butterflies in my stomach every time I read it, you know what I mean? So yeah, it's just one of a kind. I'm gonna put it in S tier, bro. I'm sorry, I just have to say it. S tier, definitely. Alright, that's my tier list. I realize I haven't really put any manga down at C tier and D tier. I guess I just have great taste. I don't read shit manga. So What can I say? But I definitely angered a lot of communities in this video, so I apologize if I offended you guys by ranking these mangas in different tier lists. But yeah, that's gonna be it for today's video. Thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to leave a like, don't forget to subscribe, and see you next time. See you next time.